Hi, they're in week 12 of the OrkneyBowl weekly review, and I'm joined again as usual, Craig, a bit earlier because he's got to go buggering off to another city.
Yeah, got to get away. Work strikes, Johnny. Work strikes. It's not fun.
It's not fun, no. But that, it's been another good week, and only 2 more weeks until the playoffs. So
week 12, Johnny. 2 weeks to go.
Some of the top ones are guaranteed a spot in the playoffs, and some are still wide open. But we'll go through the trades first, and I think there was 3 this week. So that was the first one.
So we've got a 4-7 and a 9-2. So 4-7. That's my division as well.
No, that's my division.
Oh no, it's your division.
The number one
Johnny
team
Smith
is
and Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, I mean,
So I think he needed the tight end. So I think that's why he did. But that, and actually, Trevor Lawrence doubled the score of Lamar Jackson this week.
I mean, Lawrence is going to score as many as Lamar is. He'll have his weeks, and Lamar will have his weeks where he scores better. So it's much of a. I mean, for me, it's much of a muchness. The thing you're getting with Lamar is his legs. You're at the stage now where you need to start looking at. You need to start thinking about looking at the schedules, and who's got who in the playoffs. So these 2 teams played each other this week.
They did indeed, yes.
Lawrence did not help him on his way to a victory, so that's.
Well, neither would Lamar, to be honest, but
yeah, so Lamar and the playoffs are 15, 16, 17, yeah.
Yeah, 15 and 16 is the group of, for the division playoffs, 15, 16, 17.
So you've got, at Jacksonville for Lamar, week 15, and then he's away to San Francisco, and then he's got Miami at home. So 2 away, 1 home. Jacksonville fair, they're swapping Lawrence. Lawrence would be at home to Baltimore then that week week 15. But yeah, so, I wouldn't be jumping up and down about that schedule, to be honest with you. I'm not sure Lawrence's will be any worse than that. So for me, it's in fact Lawrence has got Baltimore, then at Tampa, and then Carolina, the Carolina Panthers at home. So
it's a bit the same, to be honest. But
yeah. So it's a bit of a samey, and Blacksteel picks up Jono Smith if he needed a tight end. Still a lot to play for in the consolation playoffs. So fair enough. Why not?
Yeah, because did Blacksteel have? Did he have Andrews? I can't remember. He'd probably be on IR. But...
Yeah, Andrews will be on it. Is Andrews on IR?
No, maybe it's just out, but you can move him on IR in here. So, or maybe
yes, Blacksteel Legends has got Andrews, so he's
so that's why he needed the tight end. So obviously Jono Smith, but.
Not quite the same. Right, but... Yeah, there you go. And he did chuck him in there. He got 2 points somehow, despite not touching the ball. But
2 targets. So 1 target.
Yeah, fair enough. It's I'm not sure Jono Smith's the answer, but it's much of a muchness of a trade.
Yes. And on we've got from the Happy Valley division, we've got Banks Lightning getting DJ Moore and giving up Tua and Khalil Shakir to the Norwich Mustard. Both teams are 7 and 4, so it's a bit of a rival to give it away to. But
well, it's one of those ones where I'm assuming Dreves needed a wide receiver pretty desperately. Because and I'm assuming that he is one that's had 2 or 3 quarterbacks on the bench and has realised that he doesn't need 2 or 3 quarterbacks on the bench, and thus has made a move with one of them, which is a reason for having quarterbacks on the bench. Obviously, you would think Norwich Mustardmen's needing a quarterback. Let's see what he has. So he played 2 this week. What's he got? Smith, and so he had well, he's got in Browning, but he maybe had Burrow. But so he needed a quarterback going with Geno Smith, who wasn't doing much, and at 7 and 4, you've got a chance. So he's went and picked up Tua, which isn't a silly thing to do. And
obviously
for Dreve, it's well, that's him. He's paired up Fields and Moore, so he's got the stack there now, and Moore's going to do well as long as Fields is in there. Moore will do fine, and you don't see them dropping Fields despite the 2 fumbles. I mean, I've
I
heard.
But he
folk
played
going
Fields over
crazy.
Love. If he played Love, we'll get to that one later on. But yeah, it's
But yeah, so yeah,
it's
I
a
think
neat trade. So.
Yeah, Dreves all in with he's got Love and he's got Fields, so no need for Tua as well. So why not get something out of him? And there you go, he's picked something up out of him. So yeah, very good trade by Dreve, and Norwich must have then picks up a quarterback and gives him a chance.
He got nice points this week. It was 114 yards. He got it off 7 receptions, so good points in that one. Yeah, this is a bit of a. That's my one.
No, that's your one. So what you're picking up, Brandon Ayuk? Well, you'd had enough of Jones, hadn't you?
Yeah, and I got.
He's given you Quentin Johnston, and he's taking Quentin. I'm doing nothing Johnston. What's his number there? That I think that's how many yards he's got this year.
Well, he got that. So he got 1.9 points at the weekend, I think it was. But yeah.
And Aaron Jones for Brandon Ayuk. Yeah, that's about. You must be pretty happy about that.
Well, I am very happy actually. I put a couple of trades out and one got accepted. I just sat in the do on Sunday morning, so I wasn't expecting it, but there you go, I'll take it.
Yeah, so, I'm sure.
Because I've got. I mean, at the end of the obviously,
day,
I've got Barkley in a bye this week. I've still got Bell. What's his name? Hall. And even if I have to play.
Yeah, you're going.
So I'll be okay, but yeah, I've got another good receiver in my team. Obviously, I'm a bit disappointed with Addison. What
is Jones? Is Jones fit?
Well, I think they're hoping to be back this week. I think, but obviously, I think Johnson's questionable, so it's hard to tell what's happening. Yeah, we did it on Saturday, so.
You got Barkley, you got Hall, you've got Hunt, you've got McLaughlin, Murray's playable, Gainwell's playable. Yeah, I mean it's a good pickup for you certainly. You know, it strengthens up yourself at receiver. You know, Addison and Reed are going to have off games. You've got Bellinger punched in there in the flex spots. You know, so I can see where you're going. I mean, you must be cheesing, as I say, you must be cheesing to pick up Ayuk for Jones, who you've been gutty raging with all season long, and a bench fodder. So yeah, good work.
No, so yeah, very happy with that one. And obviously, hopefully, help me in the playoffs because obviously I secured my spot this week, so it's good.
Indeed.
Now I've got team of the week as Portland Lumberjacks.
Yeah, 277.
Mr. Kelsey trader. So that's a very good.
Kelsey trader.
So obviously, Pork's quite annoyed because Pork had the second highest scoring division up pot, so he came up against the Portland Lumberjacks, who he has traded a couple of players with, so it's his own fault.
Well, I mean, it's this was a big Kelsey trade, wasn't it? And since then, he's been on some run and 9-3. So it just goes to show that all of those players that he gave away, he did not need them.
No,
and it's
no, he did it. It's a few in IR as well, but no, it was basically the perfect lineup. Apart from the kicker.
The scoring's great, it was a Gabe Davis week, which always helps because he's very active, he's absolute boomer bust. Actually, he'd had a couple of bad weeks, so I felt he was due one this week and I chucked him in myself, but and a few leagues I've got him in, and he helped me out no end. But yeah, so big score there from him, and Stevenson's now starting to score. Charbonnet with what's his face Walker out, he's so that's a good pickup. Allen, that came from absolutely nowhere. They were they were pretty much scored in the second half, just about all of those points. But yeah, great points returned from him again, and 277 points with minus from the kicker. Cannot complain.
No, definitely. Like I say, obviously, if Foreman's fit next week, the way the Bears couldn't run the ball, and I'm guessing he'll be back in the lineup next week. Because
they give Johnston a lot of touches there. I think that could be coming. That might be coming Johnson's backfield, so they can see what he can do. Because at 4-8, I know they won, but they're 4-8. They're not going to go anywhere. So why not give the rookie a go?
Well, then, but Foreman didn't play you last night, and they couldn't get a bloody touchdown because they couldn't run it in from fucking 5 yards. So
that's another point. But I do think Rashad Johnson will get his chances in the rest of the season. Now that they're completely.
He had a nice catch and run. He had a nice catch and run last week. That was about all they did last night.
But it's I mean, it's a solid team for Portland. You know that 9-3, they're in the playoffs now. So yeah, he'll be cheesing.
Definitely. So the Rousey Cup quarter-final results. Bognor Regis Falcons had 385.55 against Whitford Educators 440.15. Leicester Tigers 401.67 come up against the high scoring South London Rebels 431.10. Kilmarnock Kings 353.14 against 336.45 Banquet Citizens. The Darlow Destroyers 378.39 came up against another high scorer, Whitchurch Warriors 454.81. So not too close in the end. There's a couple of close ones throughout the games, but
yeah, I mean
really,
that's quite a tight one. The Kilmarnock Kings there beating the Ancoats Citizens. You know, it's over 2 legs, less than 20 points is a tight game. You know, it's close. Good win for the Kilmarnock Kings. You know,
the usually high scoring Leicester Tigers had a down week this week with only 190 points, but for them that's a low score.
Yeah,
and it's basically cost them getting into the semis because it was.
Well,
that was the tie of the quarter. That one, that was just awesome.
It's a big turnaround in the second leg, you know, after Leicester Tigers leading the first leg so much, you know. So yeah, so it's Whitworth Educators and South London Rebels, and then it's the Kilmarnock Kings and the Whitchurch Warriors.
And that's the way it actually is. There you go. So South London Rebels and Whitchurch Educators against Kilmarnock Kings. Whitworth and Whitchurch. Too bloody hard that was. Yeah, so it should be a good one. If the Derek will be happy getting through, but his team's going to have to score a lot more to stay all the way with the Whitchurch Warriors because they've been one of the higher scoring teams the last few weeks. So it should be interesting. Yeah, although it is bye weeks for the next 2 weeks, so there's a lot of players on bye this week, so that might make a big difference.
There's a lot of players on bye this week. I think this week's one of the bigger bye weeks, and yeah, it's teams who are chasing a playoff spot are going to be very, very gutted when they go into their teams this week and see just who they've got in buys, I would think. But yeah, but Kilmarnock Kings will need to turn it around. They've had a couple of bad, you know, not great scoring weeks, so big game. You know, second favourites there, big time, and the South London Rebels have been flying, so you know that's a tough one for Whitworth Educators as well. But yeah, looking forward to see how it comes out. And of course, it's league versus league. Marwick Head have got 2 of the
so they're guaranteed
final.
Somebody in, yeah. So Marwick Head are guaranteed to get a team in the final, which is really good considering. In the quarters, it was 3 mates out and only one got through.
Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, the Marwick Head are guaranteed in the final.
They'll be represented. So we'll head on to when it loads. We'll head on to the divisions now. So we've got my division, St Magnus division. So obviously you've got myself winning 186.91 to 147.58. You've got Doug 186.58 losing to Jack 201.76. And that, don't know where that came from because he was winning all the way through until the end. Yeah, Laxdale Legends 173.61 up against Leeds Lassos 254.78. Hot Shot Skelmersdale Hot Dogs 193.75 going up against the high scoring EK Colts 215.38. Portsmouth Pirates 184.5 up against the Warnerbury Warriors 226.39. Both 6 and 6 now. You've got Stockholm Bengals 211.62 coming up against Poor Arthur 191.96, which would have won quite a few games, but not today.
Not today.
Or this weekend. But no, it's been all change in the league there.
Yeah, so the Leeds Lassos have now top 10-2, so well and truly in the playoffs and looking good for a top 2 spot. But Stoke and Bengals and yourself, Johnny, now on a wee roll there, right behind 9-3. You'll be looking for that bye week, I'm sure.
Well, we'll play each other next week, so that'll be fun.
And then, well, that's going to be the decider then, because you've got Whitworth Rockstars in 4th are now 2 games behind. So
yeah,
they are kind of out of the top 3 reckoning. But for a playoff spot, it's absolutely wide open now. It's, you know, you've got 5, 6, 7, 8, all 6 and 6.
You could even Rotherham if they get the right results, because.
Well, yeah, there's 2 games to go. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I would say Laxdale Legends are now out of that. Although, I mean, they could win 2 games and sneak in, but you can't imagine that the rest of them are all going to lose. But I mean, that's what it's all about now. So Portsmouth Pirates and Doug, top head Niners, they both got bad losses this week. You know, that's that hurts them. That hurts them going into this week, and it brings so many others into it. You know.
Well, they both fell down 3 spots. That's a tough one, like.
Yeah, it's a great win for Warner Bay Warriors because that puts them 6-6 and the Portsmouth Pirates 6-6. So it's a tremendous win, 226 points as well. So coming into some former Warner Bay Warriors, I've got Prescott in there who's showing that it wasn't just a wee flash in the pan in the middle there. He's scoring consistently now, week on week. He's got a problem with Eckler though. Eckler just does not look like Eckler, does he?
No, he's not this season. Not since the first game before he got injured. He's looked pretty bad whenever he's been playing.
Yeah, I'm not convinced he's that's a problem for me. You know, can you drop Austin Eckler? If you leave Austin Eckler on your bench and he goes and scores 35 points, you're going to get laughed at. You know.
Well, that's the thing. There's a good chance that could happen. So you don't really want to take that chance. But...
And when you look at I mean, Warner Bay Warriors are running into a bit of form. Look at what they've got in the bench as well. You've got London there. You've got Christian Watson. Finally maybe had his breakout game for the year, and we'll kick on. Both his defenders, 17, 20, and 20 points on the bench. You know, so he's got options there. So yeah, Warner Bay Warriors looking quite strong. And I mean, Portsmouth Pirates, they scored 184 points. It wasn't a bad week. No. It just wasn't a great week, you know, and he ran into a big score, leaving Stroud on the bench for it's Mahomes, isn't it? But here's your problem, you know, when you've got Stroud and Pickett and Mahomes all there, it's going to not be great for you, you know. But yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have made a difference in the end, and it's it drags them into the cap fight now, you know, for the top 6, which is not good. And then the other one, it was a great win for Whitworth Rockstars, beating top head Niners. You know, that's them 7-5 now, and pretty, you know, yes, they're not mathematically, and yes, they can. And I mean, they're only one game ahead. They're only one game ahead of 8th, but they've got the lead, Johnny. You know, it's in their hands.
It's like I suppose. Like for all the time, it looked like he was going to lose. Then suddenly, boom, he was. It must have been late Sunday night. The game changed a lot. Obviously, Doug needed. I think it's because Doug had Fields playing. They thought Fields was going to get more. That's why they thought he was still going to get through.
It's, but it's I mean,
it's a sore one, but
it's one of those ones. He's got options on the bench as well, does Doug? You know, he's got Deontay Johnson there who's going to do better than that, you would like to think. Sutton's there, you know, he's scoring. Atwell's starting to get a few touches again. Otton's doing okay. He's got Brooks on the bench, 33 points last week. So he's got options, you know. Pierce is sitting there who'll get more touches, the more fit he gets. Gibson's always an option if you've not got anything there, you know. So
you could understand not playing Brooks this week, though. Kenny, the last 2 weeks he scored 5 points against worse teams. Comes up against the 49ers, he scores 33.
Yeah, that's
you don't know where that came from. So. But yes, but no, he's still doing all right. You know what I mean?
No, 6-6. Listen, it's 6-6 is there. You know, you win, but the thing is, you're going to need to win 2 games now. There's too many teams there. Not, you know what? Winning this week doesn't put you in. Whereas if Whitworth Rockstars wins this week, I would say they're in.
Yeah.
And they're playing Laxdale Legends, who's kind of chucked away a couple of players and stuff now, you know. So they've got Laxdale Legends this week. So if they can go and beat Laxdale Legends, who are effectively playing for nothing, you know, they're waiting on the playoffs now. They can't make. Well, they could make it actually. They could get to 6.
Potentially, but you'd have the other ones. Well, it'd be tough because Portsmouth Pirates are playing EK Colts, so that's 2 6-6s.
Yeah, so one of them is going to win, but one of them's going to lose.
Rotherham are playing Arthur. The tough one there is for Doug, though, because he's up against Leeds Lassos.
Yeah, Doug's got he's got
the hard one there.
That's that's harsh for, you know. Well, it's not harsh; it's the way it goes. But yeah, that's he's got to pull one out the bag, because if Doug loses this week, I'm just, you know, he's got a mountain to climb, because he's got less points than the rest of them as well.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
the rest of the 6-6s. You know, he's the lowest point scorer of the 6-6s. So if he loses this week, he's going to need to do something absolutely spectacular in the final week, and he's going to need them all to fall apart for him to get there, you know, because Portsmouth Pirates
he is playing Laxdale Legends in week 14. And the
so he's...
Stars. EK Colts are playing the Warrnambool Warriors in weeks 14, so that's a 2 6-6s.
That's a 2 6-6s, yeah.
So
but
it's definitely, yeah, it's going to be hard.
But there's every chance that Warrnambool Warriors versus EK Colts is 2 7-6ers next week, in which point they're kind of both almost in, you know. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. There's some big games. It's a must-win for Doug. He cannot lose that game. If Doug loses, I would say that his chances are gone. Yeah. If Whitworth winning, they're pretty much in. EK Colts and Portsmouth Pirates, the winners looking good, the losers got all to do in final week. Warrnambool Warriors needs a win couldn't come in up against a better game in the Hot Dog Hot Shots. And you've got Stoke-on Bengals, Johnny, and it is going to be literally that is going to decide who gets the seed and who doesn't.
Yeah, because they've scored more points. So,
and then you've got Arthur in the final week, so you're looking good there. And Stoke's playing Rotherham Raiders, so they'll probably win that one too. They're down. I mean, Rotherham Raiders, let's not forget, they're still sitting there at 5 and 7. They're not out of this yet.
Yeah, we both need a kicker. Because I've got Tucker and he's got Bass, so we're both missing a kicker.
Yeah, you're both. He's missing Komet, he's missing Diggs. Yeah. Oh, James, you're missing a fair few, aren't you? You're missing Addison.
Oh, yeah, I'm missing all that. So
yes.
It's going to be an anti-climax game to decide second place, but I don't care. I'm in the playoffs. That's what matters.
Listen, it might decide first place. You know, it's Leeds Lassos aren't away and gone yet. But yeah, so that game will basically decide who gets a bye and who doesn't. And you know yourself, Johnny, that bye can be absolute godsend, because how many times in our home league does the first seed get beat by the 8th seed in the first round of the playoffs because our players just poop the bed, you know? So getting that bye week means that you don't have to worry about playing an 8th seed or a 7th seed and getting stung, you know? You're straight into
they're high scoring teams as well. That's the problem with the teams in the middle. They've all been scoring really well. I've scored nothing much the last 2 weeks, but managed to get 2 wins. So.
But it's
missing, I hate to say it, I'm missing Cousins.
Yeah, well, you are missing Cousins, but what can you do? You know, that's.
Stafford scored 30-odd points this week. That was kind of nice surprise.
There's the one you can afford to lose the most is a quarterback. Always, you know, it's when you lose your star receiver, when you lose a Jefferson or you lose a Barkley or a Taylor or, you know, a CMC, that's when you're really screwed. But you lose a quarterback, you can find someone to plug in. That's why I don't understand people sitting with 3 and 4 of them on the bench. It's just you don't need them.
No. Okay, so that's Magnus division. We'll move on to your division now.
Yeah, so I got papped again. I mean, there's just not even any point in me playing anymore. Roll on the playoffs, Johnny.
That's it. You're saving yourself for the playoffs, and obviously help Graham get to 10 and 2. So the scores were Bedford Brewskis, 227.57 against 157 Aberdeen Bucks. Aleska Deep Freeze also now 10 and 2, 220.61 against 203.56. Unlucky Sam, good score, but no enough. Yourself got papped. Gadam and Goats, 206.58 against Bodom Bears, 191.4. And the wee bike had done the 78.11 against the 231.14 the Buccaneers. So that's him up to 7 and 5. So that's a good win. So, do you want me to actually say your score, or you just went to put it in and just got papped?
No, that's quite all right. But
you didn't get beat by that much, but you did get beat. So.
It's unfortunate for Sam that, you know, no many teams are scoring 200 points, and certainly no many teams in second last place are scoring 200 points and losing this week. So, yeah, that's a bit of a harsh one. And a good win for Alaska Deep Freeze. So 10-2. Glasgow Eagles as well beating me 10-2. So they're looking very good for the bye spots. Godalming Goats, so 9-3. They're not giving up on them yet. Rightly
well,
so.
they're guaranteed in the playoffs now because they're 3 games ahead of 6, so they're okay.
Yes, that's 100%, and 3 games ahead of 7. So yeah, they're in, and top 3 are in.
Good as, but Ancoats had a bad week this week. That's the thing. They had a low. They didn't do that great. 180 points, but for them,
it wasn't awful.
But they'd usually score more than that. But if they do that next week, they'll be all right. So
it's a great win for Yorkshire Finns to get to 6-6 and put themselves right in the hunt. You know, that was Bejan finally. Bejan showing up for them. That's I mean, is that him? Was that his coming out party? Is that him now officially going to start playing every week now?
Yeah, you thought so. I mean, you've got to give him the ball, man. You like him that much.
Got to give him the ball. That's the thing. They've got to give him the ball, don't they? And they did, and look what happened. Garrett Wilson,
Joshua Dodge giving away 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
Yeah, that was quite funny, I have to say. I'm hoping he carries on like that because I've got the wee rookie boy in a few dynasties, so I'd quite like him to get another chance. But I mean, he's got Jordan Love there on the bench, 37 points, and he's playing Dobbs, still winning, so it doesn't matter so much. But the wrong quarterback this week. Ridley seems to. That's a couple of weeks in a row. Ridley's went well now, and Rice 28 points. He's becoming more and more Mahomes' favourite target at Rice.
Yeah,
being a rookie.
He had another big pass chance that he dropped as well. Like, he would have even more points. But yeah, obviously Ridley's good form the last 2 weeks, just coincided with Jay Jones being back in the field.
That's very true, and it's because Jay Jones is taking some of the attention as well.
He's not getting double teamed, and if he does, then they'll just throw it to Jay Jones. So one way or another.
I mean, Yorkshire Finns are coming on to a game, with Ancoats Citizens. They're still 8-4. They're not going to be losing any sleep over that. It's 180 points. It's okay. It's fine. They're looking good. Buccaneers at 7-5. They've got the game. They've got the lead, So it's all up to them. But they still do need to win 1, maybe 2 more. Yeah. Yorkshire Finns at 6-6, Lee Vikings at 6-6, and Aberdeen Bucks 5-7, all well in the hunt. And see, with it only being, I mean, I wouldn't totally rule out Bedford Brewskis yet. They got the win this week to keep themselves alive, So a very good win this week, 227 points, so playing well and beating Aberdeen Bucks. It keeps them kind of there and at them, keeps. So yeah, I wouldn't say Bedford Brewskis are out of it yet because there's only 3 teams above them, So they need to win both games, obviously, and they need Yorkshire Finns and Lee Vikings both to strike out both games. So they need a lot to happen, but they're not dead yet.
So for the South London Rebels, was that a 9-game win streak? Was that the record so far?
It was a 9-game win streak, yeah.
Because Alaska Deep Freeze are on an 8-game win streak, so if they win the last 2 games, they now have the records. So
they will have, yeah. It was a big week this week for the Buccaneers beating Lee Vikings as well, 231 points. So great score, 7-5, giving themselves the head start and only needing 1 out the last 2. Lee Vikings are now in. Got to win them both category, So a great win there, 231 points. And, when you've got McCaffrey and Jacobs and you've just plugged Kyler Murray back in, I mean, they were terrible. The Arizona Cardinals were terrible on Sunday.
And they were awful.
He still scored 23 points, So, it's very much Buccaneers are ones to look out for now, with Murray plugged back in there. Jacobs is starting to get more and more and more again, which is good to see for me as well. Diggs and Evans are sitting there doing along just fine as long as Walker's out, Charbonnet's in,
Yeah.
He's got Watson on the bench. He's got Brooks on the bench. He's got Lockett on the bench, that can come in. He's got Dillon on the bench that can come in. So, yeah, Buccaneers coming into a nice wee run, and Lee Vikings 178 points isn't awful, but at the same time, if you're playing Kelly, you're in trouble, aren't you?
Yes. So going on to the next week, we've got quite an important game at the top there. You've got the Bedford Brewskis at 4 and 8 up against the Yorkshire Finns. Obviously, they need to win to have any chance.
It's absolutely massive, and Alaska Deep Freeze will be very pleased to know that they play me, so that should get them onto the 9-game win streak, and let's see if they can get it in the last. But yeah,
that's got their bye week nice and same as everybody else's bye week, so they're okay.
Yeah. So Bedford Brewskis are going to, it's a must win. It's an absolute must win, and if Yorkshire Finns beat them, then that's
it. Yeah,
they're pretty well. They're out. Yeah, Bedford Brewskis are gone, and it would put Yorkshire Finns on 7 and 6, and nearly there, because they do hold the 6th spot at the moment.
Yes, and I got Citizen. They're up against the Aberdeen Bucks, who are only 1 game ahead of Bedford Brewskis, and 1 behind the Finns. So,
well, again, it's a must win for Aberdeen Bucks, because 5 and 7, you got to win them both. I mean, Bedford Brewskis could win them both and still not make it.
Well, that's it. Well, you got Godalming and Goats are up against the Lee Vikings, so you got to hope the Godalming and Goats will be wanting to carry on. So,
yeah, they'll be.
You could potentially have the scores where there'll be 1 game behind 2-3 teams going into the last game if the results went a certain way. So it's very, very tight.
Godalming Goats is playing for the top 2. It's the bye. As I say, the bye's massive. The bye's huge. So the Buccaneers at 7 and 5 and playing Bodom Bears, they'll be, they get that win there. That puts them in.
They'll be up there.
Then you've got 4 teams playing for 1 spot. But if Yorkshire Finns beats Bedford Brewskis, but I tell you what, if the Buccaneers beat the Bodom Bears and the Yorkshire Finns beat the Bedford Brewskis, Lee Vikings, if Lee Vikings don't find a win, it's over. I would say it's all over. Lee Vikings are playing Godalming Goats. It's massive. Must win.
Yeah. Because potentially, well, depending on the last week, they might, but they're that far behind in the points.
Yeah, so there's a lot of must-win games here this week. With Buccaneers with that wee head up, Lee Vikings are on a must-win, Aberdeen Bucks are on a must-win, Bedford Brewskis are on a must-win. So that's 4 teams on must-win games this week. And if Yorkshire Finns, they don't need to win it, but
Aberdeen Bucks' last game is against the Yorkshire Finns as well, so that makes it nice and spicy.
Oh, so that's very spicy,
So if the
almost
Bedford
I don't. So sorry, but I really want the Bedford Brewskis to beat the Yorkshire Finns this week, just to make it interesting in the final week.
That would just be a complete nerve-wracking one. That one.
Yeah,
all the teams on the 5 or 6.
To lose to Godalming Goats, and they're all sitting on either.
Yeah, because Bedford Brewskis are playing the Yorkshire Finns, then they play the Hancock Citizens in the last one. So it's not easy for them, but
No, but win your 2 games and see what else happens. Anything can happen, So, but you would like to think that Yorkshire Finns are but they're on form as well. They've won 2 games in a row. I don't see them blowing it, but you never know.
No, but obviously you don't want to upset the party and try and stop the team going for 9 wins.
Well, I'm going to do my best, but we'll see what happens. I wouldn't hang my hat on it, that's for sure. But you know how fantasy football works. That will be the game that I go and score the 200 points and I get.
Although looking at Alaskan Freeze, I've got Allen on a bye, Cook on a bye, Shakir on a bye, Hawkinson on a bye.
Half their team on a bye.
Yeah, they do have Purdy to plug in. McLaughlin, Quentin Johnson.
I'll square it up. I'll square it up a little bit, maybe, but yeah. My team's just been doing awful all season, so there's no. T. Higgins has been such a disappointment.
Well, they reckon he might be playing on Monday, but you look at the quarterback's thrown; it's not looking too great. But
exactly, I've no playing him now.
You need a tight end, But
yeah, I'll find one.
No, you never look. Obviously, you've got Jackson on a bye, Barkley on a bye, Robinson on a bye, Mayer on a bye.
So
it's a battle of the byes.
I'm beaten up as well, but yeah, I'm sure Alaskan Deep Freeze will be on 9 wins in a row next week. Have no fear.
Cool. So we'll move on to Queen Hill, Division 3. And here we've got a nice one there, obviously. Preston Hawks had a bit of a sore loss of 213 points to 218 points for the Edinburgh Thunderbirds. They wait 10 games to get a win, and now they've got 2 in a row. So you got the Blackfoot Panthers 178 to 249 for Seattle Patriots, 239 Manchester Bees back in the winning streak against the New Barstow Bastards 228. That's a sore one.
That hurts.
By Rothes Nazguls 189 up against the Whitehall White Tigers 236. 201 for the Glossop Fighting Gophers against the high-flying Carlton Crew, 187. Didn't expect that one. And the Kirkwall Chargers, 124 up against the Chicago Scorpions, 184. So a couple of surprise results here. And well done, Gary, for winning your second game in a row.
Yes, and awesome. 218 points as well, so on a roll now.
Sorry, Pierre.
Tied with Preston Hawks now at 2-10 down there at the bottom. There's some massive results in here, Johnny. Glossop Fighting Gophers finding a win against Carlton Crew. Where did they find that from? Magic.
It's mental, that one, because it was no bye weeks either. So it was just crazy.
8-4.
What happened in the game?
You look at Carlton Crew's first 2 players. Dak Prescott 44, Christian McCaffrey 38. So it must have went pretty bad elsewhere.
Thielen, Ferguson,
Schultz and Ferguson. Schultz. And the defence didn't do much.
No, the defence is awful. They were basically DJ Watt scored more than both of them put together.
It just goes to show you, it's just down that bottom half. See that the kind of top 5 players that they've all done great, and then it's just that bottom half. Thielen, Ferguson, Schultz, obviously Hawkinson done okay, but Folk, Jones and Quinton Williams, who's been doing so well. Quincy Williams, just an off week. So, and he ran into one, but a great win for Glossop Fighting Gophers, and it puts them in the playoffs,
Definitely. Well, that's it. Well,
it's they're in. It's literally we've got one spot to play for now. So, Bank Foot lost, which is that's not good. Roddy could have secured a bye week this week, but he's not because he's lost. So he's given Seattle Patriots and Carlton Crew the chance to still catch him for the second bye spot. But Glossop are in, and it's now between Whitehall White Tigers, Chicago Scorpions, New Barsden Mashers.
That's it.
And maybe Glenrothes Nazguls.
Yeah, but you got to think if somebody goes on a losing streak and the 6 teams win, 8 and 4s aren't actually safe yet because there's still 2 games to go.
Yeah, their points scored are way higher as well. Though I'm going to go with their both. I mean, they're not mathematically safe, but they're in.
Carlton Crew are safe. They're the highest scoring team in the league, basically.
Yeah, I'm going to the 8-4s are in, but it's one spot between 3 teams. And New Barsden Mashers are on a 2-game losing streak, which is not the right time to do that. However,
I think Chicago Scorpions have got
8 points this week in loss. So, they scored 228 points. That is not one to lose any sleep over. And,
I remember looking at this earlier on, and I think Chicago Scorpions have got a brutal last 2 games.
Have they? Well, let's go and have a wee look at the last 2 games.
Sure they have.
That's all that's worth talking about at the moment. We start talking about the bottom lot of teams again, and when we get to the playoffs, and we start talking about the proper top lot of teams again when we get to the playoffs. But now it's about the race for the playoffs.
Week 13, Chicago Scorpions are up against the Carlton Crew.
Ouch! But look at the massive game.
What is it?
New Barsden against Whitehall White Tigers. The other 2 6-6s play each other.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
I mean, it's massive for Chicago Scorpions. If they lose to Carlton Crew, then they're definitely 1 game behind with 1 game to go.
But then looking at the points, you'd rather. Well, so there's only like 30 points between the 3 of them actually. So
I know it's tight.
So like they could potentially score loads of points, lose, and still have a better points difference when it comes to the last week.
It goes to the last week. All 3 go to the last week, but if Chicago Scorpions up against Carlton Crew, they are desperate for a win. Who have they got out? They've got Mooney out. They've got Edmonds out, and that's it. So they've got a full team to pick from, apart from Mooney, who, you're not going to play anyway. And they've got to defend. They'll just plug Brooks right in there after his 33-point week, I'm sure. And probably Mingo for Mooney, and then it's as you were. But Carlton Crew, they've got Hawkinson in a bye, and that's that. And they've got Orton to plug in. So I mean, this is a game that's not affected much by the bye weeks, and huge for Scorpions. But New Marsden Mashers against Whitehall White Tigers. I mean, the winners effectively. If you win this game and then lose in the final week, that's heartbreaking, and don't get in.
So is it? Well, DJ Moore's missing for the Whitehall White Tigers.
He is, and then Tyler Bass and Leonard will get plugged in. He's got Komet out. He's got Robinson out on bye week. He's got Edwards and Gus Rubos and Mattson for New Marsden Mashers. So they are missing some players. But
I'm guessing he'll be going in free agency, trying to find a defender and a kicker. Especially being
he's got a defender down there. He's got off Leonard's free agency. Maybe not then.
No, he got let go 2 weeks ago. So
he did, yeah. So he's going to need to go to agency. So going to be busy in agency as New Marsden Mashers manager this week, and he really needs to go and do it, because winning it's effectively winning. It's not winning you're in, but it's you need to win if you want a chance of getting in, if you want to have the lead.
Well, he's got $260 to spend, so hopefully he'll get somebody to take over the place.
He's playing they're playing Glenrothes Nazguls in week 14 as well, so you've got to think while Whitehall Tigers play Manchester Bees and Chicago Scorpions play the Glossop Fighting Gophers. So if the New Marsden Mashers wins this week, I would say that they'll get that 6th spot, unless Chicago Scorpions can somehow find a way to beat Carlton Crew and take it into the last week.
Yeah, well, straight well, look what happened this week on the top one there with the Preston Hawks, Edinburgh Thunderbirds coming up to 218 points from the bottom spot to beat the second bottom team, 213. So, there was a few high-scoring games. Obviously, New Marsden 228 was a tough loss.
Yeah, there's a couple of real tough ones, and this New Marsden can feel very hard done to, and so can Preston Hawks for all that they're caring at this point in time. It's they're waiting on the playoffs now. But 2 teams to lose with 200 points is very tough.
Yes. So we'll go on to Mullhead, Division 4. So we've got the Solihull Sharks, now 6-6, 236 points up against Nairn Knights, 168. You've got Water Orton up to 10 wins now, 269 against Gary, 172. You've got Preston Panthers, 193 against the Workshop Rookies, 217. Leicester Tigers, 190, who were top, losing to Yorkshire Los Muertos, 204. So anything can happen. You've got the Dublin Everton Blues, 215 up against the Leeds Lepers, 179. And you've got Sean losing 175, 227 points for Harrow Harlequin. So that was another big shock there. Benjamin losing there. That lost top spot now as well after that one.
Yeah, it cost them top spot, and from nowhere as well, Yorkshire lost Muertos, and as you say, it just goes to show you what can happen in fantasy football. I mean, 204 points. He's got Lawrence, who's final. If Lawrence has now started playing, if Lawrence could have been playing that, the way he's played the last couple of weeks, the whole season, then it might be no be down there at 3-9, and that's flip. Harris is, ever since Warren was named number 1, Harris has picked up, double digits week on week. Barkley's was a bit of an off week, but even Chase is still doing it, even with Browning throwing the ball. Chase still scored okay, Nico Collins is in there scoring again. I mean, that's Walker and Queen. That's a great defence. That's a low scoring week for the two of them, But I mean, Leicester Tigers weren't helped by leaving Campbell in when he was out.
Yeah, Jordan Love on the bench as well.
They plug in Franklin and they win, or they don't win the game, but they're very close to it.
If you could have played Jordan Love, they would have won. But
yeah, well, I mean, there's a way to the victory, but you don't play Jordan Love over tour. That's why I don't understand having him sitting there, because you don't play him over tour. You're not going to.
Yeah, Gino Smith as well.
But yeah, an off week, if you can call it that, 190 points, an off week for the Leicester Tigers, having to plug in Eliza Mitchell in there, that's not like something they would have to do. Why are they having to do that?
I was trying to think who they missing. They got somebody in IR or
no, that's what I went to look at. Don't see.
Oh, I got Kamara in the flex. So Kamara could, so.
Yeah, Kamara's in there on the flex. And I've got Tyreek Hill down. I mean, when you've got Lamb and Hill, you're going to be in Hawkinson. You're going to be winning a lot of games. That's some good receivers right there.
Oh,
and that to a Hill stack will take him. I'll do him well in the playoffs, I'm sure.
Which is why he's one of the highest scoring teams because of those two. But
yeah,
it was a nice win for Solihull Sharks, breathing down Sean's neck up into 7th place with 236 points, which was very impressive. Millie Jackson, the Prescott and Pollard, Tankdale, Carbon Ridley, Wilson, and Laporta. So
I mean, Tankdale's just in his game now, isn't it? I mean, he's an auto start now, isn't he? You don't even think about Tankdale. If you own Tankdale, he starts.
You had Watson on the bench as well. He's finally. Is this a one game wonder? He'll be back. Is he going to be back now and do well?
Well, I mean, it's you just don't know. It was one of those. You just don't know, do you? I hope that's him back. And Love looked a lot better.
They look good. Early on, they look good.
But as you say, it might just be the one-off. But I don't think so. I mean, that Love looks like how I thought it was going to be this year. It's maybe just taking a wee bit longer to kind of get himself into it. I didn't think he was going to be outstandingly brilliant. I didn't think he was going to be as awful as he's been. So maybe that's him turning it around. But yeah, brilliant win for Solihull Sharks, and that's 3 in a row now. 3 in a row for them, So it's put in they're on the winning run now, Joe's down to 5 and 7, in their nights, 5 and 7, down to 8th now. Preston Panthers down to 5 and 7 with 2 losses in a row, the same. So they've both hit the skids at the very, very, very wrong time,
The one I know they're up in 4th, sitting at 8 and 4, but you maybe, depending on the pictures, got to be a bit worried about Workshop or Rookies, because if they do get caught off the 6 and 6 teams,
they are lower. Yeah, their scores are a lot worse. So yeah, Workshop definitely need the win. They still need a win.
If they get one win, then it's okay. But if they lose 2, they're praying on other results going their way.
It was a good win for them this week, though. They managed to snap the losing streak, and it's put Preston Panthers in the pooper. That's effectively, it's not knocked them out, but it's put them with their backs right against the wall. Sean's got a loss at the wrong possible time. That was a big game this week. Hallow Harlequins and Newcastle Colts.
Well, that was
they were both they were both 6 and 5. Yeah, now it's 7 and 5, 6 and 6. So yeah, bad loss for Sean, and it gives Hallow Harlequins the edge in the run in now. I would say Workshop are in, but I see what you're saying with this point, so you can pull them into it. But everyone down to 9th has got a chance of getting that final spot, But near Knights and Preston Panthers obviously need to win out, and it still might not be enough.
Well, looking at the next week, Workshop Rookies are up against the Leicester Tigers.
Oh, that's a tough one for them. That might bring them into the contention.
Solihull Sharks are up against the Water Warriors, even though they are on a flyer, but they're playing against number 1 team. You've got Sean's up against Danny, so it's a 6
Dublin Everton Blues against Newcastle Colts. Yeah, that's huge as well.
The way things are going, they could actually lose and still qualify, depending on how those 2 results go.
I'll tell you who this week looks really, really good for. This week looks really, really good for the Hallow Harlequins, because they've got the Leeds Leopards, who are 3 and 9, and with all the rest of it, with the 6 and 6s, the 6 and 6s having real tough games, Solihull Sharks and Newcastle Colts against teams above them. Hallow Harlequins win this week, and that puts them in 100% with their points for. If they win this week, they're in, and then Leeds Leopards, great game for them.
And then going on to the final week, you've got Solihull Sharks going up against Gary. So you got to think that's like a bye.
Yeah.
You've got the Leicester tag there. Okay, Yorkshire Bliss Myrtles, who just beat the number 1 team, are playing the Workshop Rookies in week 14. Good. So that could be a net. they could qualify automatically, because obviously Sean's playing Leeds Lepers in the last week too. So if Workshop haven't qualified, like cemented it in week 13, there's a good chance that they're not going to, depending on it. It's going to be a nervous week for them.
Well, they're absolutely fine though, because Sean and Solihull, Sean's not going to win. Sean could easily lose. Workshop Doth Rookies don't need another win to get in. They just need
one of the other two to
Sean
lose.
not to win two, and Solihull Sharks not. If Solihull Sharks and Sean don't win both games, then Workshop are in, and I don't see them winning both games.
Well, stranger things have happened. But
absolutely. I mean, it's not over yet, but they've both got tough games this week with Dublin, Everton Blues, and for all that we can say that for Workshop, and I know it's because of the points for, but Dublin, Everton Blues have got less points scored than Sean.
Oh shit! So they do actually, yeah.
So
that's a big game for Dublin
as well. So they need to come out and win this week against Sean. So it's a big week this week for them, and Sean specifically though. But
it is because
Sean's got Adams, Chandler, he's got Myers, and he's got Osborne and by, but you can get away with those. They're not disastrous.
No. But looking at the final week, Dublin Everton Blues have actually got Harrow Harlequins in the last week as well. So they'll be wanting to win this week as well. So yeah, it could be crazy.
Yeah, so I mean,
results pending. It could be a very nervous last week. This one.
The eights are very well and truly in the argument, but they should get in okay. Harrow Harlequins win this week, and they should get in okay. And then you're looking at spot number 6 between Sean, Solihull Sharks, and the Nairn Knights. So the Nairn Knights have got a great game against Gary this week. If they can win that, at least gives them a shout, provided one of those two lose,
And who have they got in the last week? Nairn Knights have got Orkney Warriors in the last week.
Yeah, so it's a tough one, but it's, if you're going to get into the playoffs, you're going to need to play Orkney Warriors at some point, so.
Very true. But it should be an interesting week. And very nervous. We've not actually picked the game of the week. So it's the game of the week this week then.
And that one, it has to be. Well, what one does it have to be? Doesn't have.
Newcastle Colts and Harrow, or
I would say
Sharks and Nairn Knights.
No, I think it's the Colts and the Blues. The Colts and the Blues. The Dublin Everton Blues against Newcastle Colts. Because that's Sean's desperate for the win, and Dublin Everton Blues one more win just to put them over the edge. So yeah, I'll go. It's not one game, because Solihull Sharks and Orkney Warriors is so important as well for Solihull Sharks. I'll go for a mix of two, Johnny.
Yeah, I would probably go Solihull Sharks, because they are the team. Well, apart from they probably are the team in form. They're the only team that's got a 3-win streak. So you've got to fancy, because they're coming from nowhere. So I'd fancy that one to be a good one to
Solihull Sharks. Yeah, I hear you. And a 3-game win streak against the top team. It's a great game. It's a great game for them to get. And they've got Orkney Warriors have got Allen on a bye week, so that's massive for Solihull Sharks.
Uh-huh. And actually, in their 3-game win streak, they've beaten Newcastle Colts, Harrow Harlequins, and Nairn Knights.
Yeah, so it's been 3 good wins.
That's 3 good wins, so 200 points.
And Orkney's riddled with bye weeks this week. Both defenders plus Kemet, Mooney, Beckham, Hill, Jacobs. And I think he's going to run without a defender and without a quarterback, because I don't think he'll want to drop any of them.
No, that's the thing. You're through. You've got the win.
And he's in. So, I think it's going to be very good for Solihull Sharks this week.
Yeah, so that'll make it interesting. So anyway, we'll go on to Happy Valley from the East to West Conference. So we had the Dickensheath Demons, 210 against the Quaybanks Lightning, 183. Gothenburg Angels, 226 against the Lemony Fresh, 187. Guildford Raptors, 154 against the Turbo Titans, 184. Darlington Dragons, 242 against 196 Norwich Mustard Men. Bonnyrigg Cheeseheads, back in the winning streak, 232-98 against 187 Richmond Reds. Cork Red Army, 167 against the 218 Yeovil Winners. So
Johnny, this league's crazy. No one's in.
I know. This is just mental. It changes every week.
No one's in.
There's only one league more crazy than this, and that's Graham's league. But yeah, this is just like So because Darlington Dragons, they're 6-6. Richmond Red 6-6. So basically, you've got to say Lemony Fresh. They had a good run. They got one score correction which screwed them, but they're definitely out now, so they're gone. But yeah, that's.
But nobody's in. 2 weeks ago, not one team is guaranteed in the playoffs. So I mean, every game's a massive game in this one, right down to. I mean, the 6-6s can get in obviously because this sixth place is only 7-5, and indeed the fourth place is only 7-5.
Well, remember, Quaybank's Lightning, they were on a 4-game win streak. They've lost, and then they've dropped 3 places down to 7th.
I did say there'll be a team that gets 8 wins and doesn't get in.
This could be the league.
This is the league that it's going to happen in. It's probably the only chance of the league. It's the only chance of it happening in. But yeah, I mean, so massive win for Bonnyrigg Cheeseheads to get out of that losing streak, you know.
Yeah.
At this stage of the season, and against Richmond Reds, it's brought them back down, 6-6. So they were going along just as well, 6-5 as well, So great win for Chris to get back to winning ways and break that, because it was about a 5-game losing streak, wasn't it?
It was something like 5 games. It was a bit crazy. Like you were getting a bit worried for the Cheeseheads after yourself and name. So.
Oh, definitely.
They obviously heard you last week begging them to get their act together, and then obviously they've got their act together and got a win. So maybe you should coach them.
232 points.
So that's a big. It does help with Josh Allen with nearly 52 points.
It does.
Outscoring Dak with 44 points.
And Allen has been pretty ropey the last few weeks, and it's no surprise that the bounce back coincides with his bounce back. You
look at it, Waddle, Samuel.
You get Debo back in there and back scoring again. Hubbard finally turned up for a week again.
And Okereke, he had a good game against New England.
So yeah, I mean, great win for Bonnyrigg Cheeseheads, but there's some massive wins in here. I mean, Dixon Heath Demons beating Quaybank's Lightning. Yeah, that's a massive, because obviously that dropped Craig all the way down to 7th at 7-5. Yeah, and it's the Darlington Dragons winning 6-6 against the Norwich. They dragged the Norwich Mustardmen right into the battle. I mean, the 8-4s should get in. I mean, they can lose both games and still get in, but they could also not. But they could lose both and still get in. So they're obviously sitting in the box seats at the moment.
Yeah. Well, obviously Turbo Titans, they're in a 3-game win streak, but they did beat what was that?
They beat the Guildford Raptors.
Raptors, so a win's a win.
A win's a win, yeah.
Darlington Dragons are on a 3-game win streak. So that's them, because they were 3-6 at one point. So they're now up.
Yeah, so they're flying. Yeah, and that's a massive comeback. It'll be very, if they can they could keep winning and no get in though, which would be really, really harsh if you get on that kind of win streak and no get in. But they're playing the Turbanville Titans this week, the Darlington Dragons, so that's massive for both of them. And it's both on a 3-game win streak, so one of their win streaks has got to go.
And obviously, Olabi is going to concussion, so he might not make it this week. So that's going to be a sore one.
Yeah,
but you've got Kieran Williams back, so that's always good. So
I mean, whoever got Kieran Williams back, every team that owns Kieran Williams is smiling happily this week.
Yeah,
it looked like he hadn't missed a beat as well. As he plugged back in there and went absolutely crazy. So yeah, I can see big things for him in the run-in. That he'll be very handy to have.
You got to think Gothenburg, if they can get the win against Dickens, you thought to meet near place because they're playing against 7-5. Must have meant.
Yeah, I mean Gothenburg
could potentially have the bye week depending on how their team turns up. And Court Army are playing Richmond Red, so you got to think they are. Big game down the bottom. You got Yeovil against Bonnyrigg.
Yeah,
8-4 against 7-5.
It's a much bigger game for Bonnyrigg than it is for Yeovil, this one. But the teams with the 8, Yeovil, Turbinville, and Gothenburg, they're all wanting to get that. They would get that win this week just to make sure they should get in anyway, but get the win this week. But all got tough games and all got games against teams that are chasing it. Do you know who's going to be the happiest of them all this week? Without a doubt. Well, you've got Norwich Mustard Men and you've got and Coybanks Lightning. They're both playing teams that they should beat.
Yes.
And they're both sitting in that 7-5 mark. They've both just lost games, so they both need to bounce back. So the fact that they've got these games this week, they must be delighted with that, get themselves back in the winning ways.
And if the Darlington Dragons beat the Turbo Titans, they'll be a bit worried because I know they'll still be 8-4, but Darlington Dragons have scored more points. Quite back. Yeah, it's going to be very nervous last week. But
all the 7-5s could win this week. They're all playing different teams, so all the 7-5s can win this week, and we could be heading into a final week with 7 teams on 8 wins.
Well, in week 14 at the moment, you've got Gothenburg Angels are 8-4 against Coybanks Lightning, who potentially is going to be 8-5. So it could be Dickinson Demons are playing Lemony Fresh. You've got to think David go win. Norwich Monster Men are playing the Turbo Titans, so that could potentially be 2 8-5 teams.
Yeah,
the Dragons have basically got a bye week against the Guildford Raptors. So if they win this week, they've got a good chance to get to 8-6. Richmond Reds are playing the Yeovil Winners, and you've got the Bonnyrigg Cheeseheads. You've got to reckon if they win this week, they're going to be in because they're playing the Court Red Army last week. So
you just made up my mind in the game of the week this weekend. Here is definitely Darlington Dragons against Turbinville Titans for me because the Darlington Dragons on a 3-game win streak, and they're
both on 3-game win streaks.
Yeah, they're both on it. But if they can get that win, put themselves on 7-6, push themselves. They've got an easy game in the final week, so that should be enough to get them into playoffs. And it would be some comeback from 3-6.
Definitely, yeah, that's definitely my game of the week as well.
But I mean, there's so many huge ones in here that we'll be talking about this one for the whole show next. That we can talk about this league for the whole show next week.
We'll just have a special one for this, and we'll have a special one for Graham's league because that's pretty close to.
And there will be, this league is not going to be sorted by the end of next week. With going into the final week, there will be a lot of decisions, places still to be played for.
It's going to be a nervous one. This one,
yeah,
and we're not going to have a clue until next week.
Yes, correct. That's going to run all the way to the last week. At least we'll know a couple of teams that will be in next week.
Well, depending on scores, yeah.
Well, we should.
Because obviously, but if Dickinson beat Gothenburg, then that'll be both 8-5.
Yeah, I mean, the 8s could all lose as well. That's the thing.
Yeah.
The 8s could all lose and the 7s could all win. We could potentially have 7 teams all on 8 wins going into the final week in this division.
That is just mental. And a team on 7-6. So we could have 8 teams within one game going into the. Yes.
Yes.
This is the what's it called? League of what do they call it?
Well, we've all beaten each other up. Obviously, it's. Do you know what this tells you? This tells you that the draft was done very, very. No one really screwed up the draft. Well, a couple of the bottom teams did, but no one got the better of the draft.
No, it's
been so close.
It has been. Probably the division of the league so far because it's just so close. And this is what you want to play because they're all so close. And obviously, some will be in the same league as each other next year. Some will be the league below or league above. But it's going to be fun.
Oh, I don't know if I agree, Johnny. I'd much rather be sitting there at 14 and 12-0 and cruising. Do you know what I mean? But each to their own, pal. Each to their own.
It's me good for a commissioner because this is the sort of thing I want. People are competitive and they keep on trying. And I'm already through, so I'm not giving a shit. I'm quite happy because my team's been crap this week, got the 2 wins to get me through. But this, as a commissioner, this is how I want it to be.
Of course, that's
close leagues. And not having a clue, especially for us starting to talk about it. It'd be pretty boring. Oh, yeah, they're at 12-2, they're at 11-1, and everybody's through already. We'll just go on to the next league.
It'd make it
We'll
easier.
we'll just go back to your league and see your quality results and we'll break down all your scores then.
Yeah, no need.
Right, we'll move on to Maytown Division 2, the highest scoring team of the week. Poor Port Belly coming up against them.
Right,
277 to 234. Belfast Buccaneers now. Belfast Benchwarmers 276 against the Darlow Destroyers 201. Crew Juggernauts back on the win streak, carrying on the win streak 221 against 151. Goes to the Wolfbacks. Sunback Sunsets 220 points against the Riney Cardinals 197. 195 for the Birmingham Giants against 211. Bognor Regis back on the win streak again. And you've got the Whitworth Educators 211 up against the Bournemouth Trash Pandas 181. So the Portland Lumberjacks 9-3 at the top. This is the one where you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 14 on 66.
Is that it?
Yeah.
You got to feel for Port this week. That's harsh. 234 points. You're sitting on 5-6. You need to win. You go out and score 234 points, and you run into the top scorer of the week. Yeah.
Yes. It's
he's going to feel that a little bit.
He was quite loud about it on Monday.
Could be the difference between getting in and not as well. Do you know what I mean? Because now at 5-7, and 5-7's not dead. Of course, it's not. He's only one game behind. 2 weeks to go. Of course, he can get in, but he's needing people above him to lose as well. You know.
Yeah, and it's good to see Crew after their good start, then having a 6-game losing streak to now go 2 wins in a row again to get back up to 5th.
Good win, and back in form again with 220 odd points, you know. So going very well. I mean, there was some. I think there's always some big wins at this stage of the season. Whitworth Educators beating the Burnham Trash Pandas. That's pretty much put them in now, you know. I mean, the 8 wins. I know 6th place is at 6, but there's just that many in between now. I would say Burnham Trash Pandas need another one, but I'm going to go with the 8s are in here.
Yeah, they got a good chance. It's good win for Bognor Regis Falcons as well, getting there. Because they had a slip up last week, I'm pretty sure, and then because they dropped from 1st to 3rd and have managed to stay at 3rd.
Yeah, that's it. Pretty much. So. Yeah, that one's pretty much cemented their place now, you know. I mean, Portland Lumberjacks are in for sure. I mean, Whitworth Educators lost last week as well and got the win this week. So that was a nice bounce back win for them as well against Burnham. And that's kind of put them in now. There's Burnham, I would say, are 1 win away from being in. But then the Crew Juggernauts, Darlow Destroyers, Belfast Benchwarmers, Sandbach Sunsets, all at 6 and 6. So there's, you know, 2 spots there to be played for, right down to the 5 and 7. So Riney Cardinals and Cavite Porkers right in those races as well. Bad loss for Belfast this week, losing to the Darlow Destroyers, because you know, you win that week and you're 2 games ahead of them. You've lost this week, so you're tied.
And you're out the playoff spot as well. So,
and you know, it's they're going to need their players that they manage to. And you know, it's ironic that they're down there. They picked up the 4 players against Portland Lumberjacks, 1 for Kelsey, and yet it's the Belfast Benchwarmers that are in the battle, and Portland are smiling on from the top.
Who was it again? It was
But Hopkins, who didn't do too much today this week. Kamara, who did quite well. Was Ridley part of it? And
it was Njoku. It was only 3 players, was it not?
No, it was 4. I'm sure Ridley was the other one.
I don't know, find it. I think you might be right, actually.
But yeah, he scored. So he scored, you know, those players are scoring well for him, but Mixon's letting them down.
Yeah, it was Hopkins, Njoku, Kamara, and Ridley. So all 3 of them played. All 3 of them scored. Well, 3 of them scored well. 1 scored okay, but wasn't enough to get the win.
At the end of the day, the Belfast Benchwarmers' problem this season's been Mixon and Metcalf all season long. They've just not done it. They've not done enough, and yet they're auto starters, and they've just not done enough. So that's
you can't drop them because they're so good. But yeah, they're not done anything.
And Darlow Destroyers, lovely, nice win, 200 points. Going to be he's going to not know what to do about his quarterback now with Dobbs and Smith. You know, so what do you do there? But
Smith will be playing this week because Dobbs will be on a bye.
Aye, yeah, true. But he's got Rice there, he's got Reid there on the bench, who are both going very well now, and both rookie receivers. Cup's another one, isn't he? You can't not play him, but you got to play him.
Well, he's got Williams. He's got Williams back as well, 47 points. That'll be the game winner there, Kieran Williams.
Of course, yeah. So Kieran Williams is massive. Whoever's got Kieran Williams is, as I say, that they're running into playoffs nice, and if they're making the playoffs, then they're nice and happy about it. So yeah, Darlow Destroyers now looking very strong and on the up, and they're holding that 6th spot now. Sandbach Sunsets, a great win to keep them involved. Riney Cardinals obviously knocking them down. Great win for them. It's every win at this point of the season is massive for the teams that are in and amongst it. Obviously, if you look at next week, Riney Cardinals are playing the Cavite Porkers. So the 2-5-7 teams, one of them's dead and one of them's going to be right in it.
Yeah. I guess you've got the Crew Juggernauts against the Darlow Destroyers. That's going to be a cracker game next week, like.
Massive, and the winner of that's probably is looking good to get in, and the loser of that's fighting for the 6th spot. The winner of the Riney Cardinals Cavite Porkers game, they're going to be playing for the 6th spot, but they'll need to win again. Belfast Benchwarmers, they've got Gloucestershire Woolpack, so they'll be cheesing about that.
The Whitford Educators this week, they've got Barkley on a bye, Diggs on a bye, DJ Moore on a bye, Addison on a bye.
Oof, Miles on a bye.
And Okereke on a bye.
Okereke on a bye. Robinson on a bye. And
he's got 3 quarterbacks.
Well,
they're screwed.
Yes,
that could be a very costly loss.
And in the cup, but at 8-4, I think they're comfortable enough to be hitting these playoffs. But they are playing the Birmingham Giants, which is good for them. But Burnham Trash Pandas are running into Bognor Regis Falcons, and if they lose, and Sandbach Sunsets are running into Portland Lumberjacks, so the wrong time to be running into 2 big teams. Burnham need that win just to get them over the line. And if Sandbach Sunsets lose with Darlow Destroyer and Crew, one of those 2 winning,
well,
it means
you've got to imagine Portland Lumberjacks should be shopping for a quarterback because they have no quarterback this week because they've only got Josh Allen. He's on a bye. I think that's the only player he's missing.
I'm not convinced that he does. Unless there's a spot that he doesn't mind giving up, you go without. He's in, he's already qualified for the playoffs. Do you want to, if there's a bench spot that you're like, for example, Foreman, if Foreman keeps that then he can stick him on the end of reserve and
stick him on IR and get him past the waiver wire, and as soon as it clears, put him in before they decide he's going to play.
But I would certainly be. I would be considering.
You might just be taking the loss, yeah.
And it would be great for Sandbach Sunset. It would help Sandbach no end, obviously, But and you can't blame the team for doing that if you want to keep your bench spots and there's no one that you want to sacrifice. I don't blame anyone for doing that when they're in the playoffs. They're already there,
Yeah, going to be a tough. Pork's got a good chance to go 6-7 against the Riney Cardinals.
Well, the Riney Cardinals have got a good chance of going 6-7 against Pork is the flip side of that,
Yeah.
And the winner, the loser.
I'll go on Pork's side for that one. Sorry, Pork. I'll go on your side in that one. Craig's a bit negative for you, that one. So.
Negative Nelly over here.
Negative Nelly. People like, what the hell is a deli? People like.
But it's very much. I mean, if you look at Riney Cardinals' team, their whole entire bottom half of their starting lineups in bye week.
Oh God, geez, yeah.
And they've got Higgins and they've got Campbell and they've got Wilson who was out this week. Is he going to be back? Yeah, maybe it is going to be Pork's week after all. But the game of the week here's Crew Juggernauts against Darlow Destroyers.
Oh, definitely a 2-game win streak against the Darlow Destroyers in a cracking score last week. So,
but the winner of this one takes themselves to 7 wins and gives them, Belfast Benchwarmers. You've got to fancy winning this week to go to 7 wins. So I think it's the difference between going into the final week in the playoff spots and going into the final week outside the playoff spots, because I do think Belfast win this week, and I think Sandbach's got a very good chance of taking out Portland Lumberjacks this week if they do not go and get a quarterback. Therefore, I think that the loser of the Crew Juggernauts Darlow Destroyers game will not be in the playoffs, and going into week 14?
Well, going into week 14, you've got the Belfast Benchwarmers against the Crew Juggernauts. You've got the Darlow Destroyers got a bye week against the Gloucester Wolfpack. You've got Sandbach Sunsets against Cavite Porkers. And you've got Whitford Educators up against Bognor Regis Falcons, so that'll be a good one. And you've got to imagine that Burnham Brass Banders get a bye in the last week. So
yeah, I mean, those Cavite Porkers and Sandbach Sunsets and Belfast Bay, they're all. I mean, at the end of the day, Pork could win this week and still not be in it. If
depending on the
there's
results,
going to be at least one team on what. Fifth's going to be on at least 7. Sixth might not be, but should be on 7. So yeah, long way to go though. It will go into the final week, but I think this one's going to the picture's going to be painted, and it's going to be painted by whoever wins Darlow and Crew. They're going to be kind of holding, and then I think Belfast Benchwarmers will definitely be on 7, and I think Sandbach will likely be on 7 as well. So then it'll be between them as opposed to those on 6.
Yeah. So yeah, but definitely tie of the week, definitely Crew Juggernauts against the Darlow Destroyers.
100%.
So we'll move on to Marwick Head Division for our little Kilmarnock Kings. So we've got St Helens Eagles 151 against the Royal Ulster Riots 218. 206 points against 139 for Chester Hurricanes over the Peterhead Bloody Jets. Bunnery Cowards 181, losing to the Bangor Sharks 194. Kilmarnock Kings 182, losing to the Witcher Warriors. They're now through. 250 points. Nottingham Rebels 6-6, 222 against the Southampton Dockers 196. Then you've got the Plymouth 49ers 173 against Melbourne Supremacy 242. You've got to imagine that'll be Melbourne and Witcher through now.
Yeah,
all barring the red. So,
in fact, they are. Yes, no, they are in because 7th place is on 6 wins. So what Church Warriors and Melbourne Supremacy are in, bye-bye. And likely going, in fact, not even likely, they are the top 2 seeds as well. So they'll be getting the bye weeks. And then it's getting interesting. Kilmarnock Kings are on a 3-game losing streak. Johnny, what's going on there?
I know. What's going on there, Derek?
I mean, they ran into Church Warriors this week and they did score 250 points, but Jackson's been uber disappointing. It has to be said. Adam Thielen's shown his age now is his problem there. Mattison's losing touches to Chandler. Like I'm assuming that he had Andrews and that's why he's now got likely plugged in there. But Beckham's not doing a whole lot. He's got Chandler on the bench, to be fair, and done nothing yesterday, to be fair. But Hill, Conklin, got a lot of tight ends there. And then a couple of defenders on the bench. So not a whole lot to go to, Derek. No. But a lot of tight ends, certainly, to go to. But, yeah, work to be done. Down to 7 and 5. Squeaky bum time.
Not as squeaky as one for Mr. Oldman, who's on a 3-game losing streak down to the 6th spot, still at 7 and 5, but with a few teams breathing down his neck.
Yeah, it's no longer
both on win streaks as well. So it's
he's going to need to find a win from somewhere. What's happening to his team? Let's go and have a look at it. I mean, he lost to Sean this week, Bang On Sharks, which keeps Bang On Sharks in it, by the way, slightly.
He didn't actually. He had Foreman playing with no point. Well, he didn't play.
Yeah, so he did. I mean, Tua's been slow recently. He's not done as well as he had done. You know, Pollard's kind of starting to show up for Graham now. Cup and Puka. And Eckler, there you go. That's what's happened to Graham's team. It's a shame as well because it was going so well. But I mean, he's got Fryermouth back off IR and finally scored something, so maybe plug him in this week. As I say, Brooks doing okay. Hollywood back to scoring a little bit again. Get that option there. So I mean, he's got options there on the bench, does Graham? And it's but obviously he's in a dogfight now. And
I think Bernard's on a bye this week, so Brooks will be coming in for Bernard because the Bills are on a bye. So.
Yeah, right. In the sense that this is another one that the team could get 8 and not get in. Someone could get 8 and not get in. But
it's crazy that obviously Stafford threw 4 touchdowns and none of them went to Cup and the Cure. It's crazy.
Four teams on 7 wins, and only one of them won this week. That really keeps the cat amongst the pigeons, doesn't it?
Yes.
Bad loss for
It's a good win for Aaron.
Well, bad loss for Southampton Dockers against Nottingham Rebels, which brings Nottingham Rebels right into it as well, you know. So, and huge win for Aaron. I mean, it's, you know, he's playing St Helens Eagles at 2-10, so he should have won it. But 218 points is a good points haul, you know.
Definitely, it's a good confidence booster there. And obviously, Chester Hurricanes winning as well. That's got him up to 6-6.
Yeah, it does, and that's who Aaron plays this week. The Royal Arsenal Riots are playing the Chester Hurricanes this week, so that is huge game. I mean, they could flip between 7th and 6th with that, you know, 7th and 3rd. Sorry, that's how tight it all is. But yeah, massive game there for Chester Hurricanes and for Aaron's. If Aaron wins it, you would think that that's him in. You know, with the teams that are below, he's got the most points scored. So if Aaron needs one more win, and he should be in.
Oh, and Kilmarnock, Derek, you're up against Graham this week, so that's a must-win game. And
it's a must-win game for both. Both are on.
And Kilmarnock Kings are missing Jackson, Jacobs.
Oh, Jackson and Jacobs. And Matson and Chandler and Beckham and Likely.
Brown. Has he got anybody to play? He's got defenders.
Graham's only missing Addison. So he'll plug Brown in there. He'll plug in he'll plug Brooks in for Bernard. He'll likely plug Fryermuth in for Otten, and he'll be good to go.
Yeah, Derek, we've just seen the fact that half your team are on a bye week, as you can see on the screen. And it's not.
Well, you know, 7 and 5. It was looking a whole lot better 3 weeks ago, wasn't it, my son? It's 7 and 3.
Oh, 7 and 2. Yeah, it's a mental one, that one.
Not looking so good now. And Graham, exactly the same, was 7 and 2, and he's went to the Dogs. So massive game there. That's a game of the week this week. There is no other.
No, although it should, depending who you picked up an agency, be an easiest win for Graham. It should be.
Well, I mean, it depends. It's, you know, the agency's there, and this isn't like it's only a 12-game. It's only a 12-team league. There are players in the agency that are very actionable and that will score points. You know, it's just a case of going and finding them. But Nottingham Rebels have got a good game this week against Plymouth 49ers. They really need that. You know, obviously they need to win to stay in the hunt. With the 6th place team in this division being on 7 wins, the 6 wins must win. I mean, the 5 win, well, it's only shown it's on 5 wins, but again, much like the home league, he's not dead. He needs,
no,
you know,
he is playing the Wexford Warriors, so you got to think it's going to be a hard one. But Nottingham Rebels, they'll be looking to get to 7.
Yeah, if Nottingham Rebels go and get themselves to 7, Chester Hurricanes manage to find a win against Arran. You know, the Kilmarnock Kings, Bonnyrigg Cowboys losers only on 7. You know, who's Southampton Dockers have got Melbourne Supremacy, so they could easily be on 7. You know, there could be a lot of teams sitting on 7 wins heading into the final week.
I know. This is the one I was saying. There's another exciting one.
Yeah, it's another one that could, as I say, it could be 8 wins and out if you know, easily. But we've got a few home interests in this one, Johnny, and obviously,
well, you can't get any more home than your one when you've got Aaron.
Yeah, I know.
But yes, obviously Graham.
We've got Graham there as well, and we've got Sean chasing it down a little bit. But yeah, let's. I hope.
In fact, who's playing who in week 14? That's another one.
That is
the Chester Hurricanes. They've got a bye week. Well, say the bye week. Look, they're going to get beat, but they're playing the St Helens Eagles. Peterhead bloody Jets. They could put a spanner in the works by playing Aaron. Bonnyrigg Cowboys are. Well, they need to win this week. They're playing against the Wexford Warriors next
That's
week.
A good game for Aaron in the last week. Aaron only needs one more win and he's in because his points are there. You know, he's got the points thing. So that's a great game for that. That means that Aaron could afford to lose to Chester Hurricanes this week. Not that he wants to, but, you know, because he doesn't want to give Chester Hurricanes has got the bye week next week against St Helens, as you say.
Yeah, and he's got to come on. Well, it depends how many players are on the plate. There might be a lot of players for like on week 14 buys, but You got the Kilmarnock Kings against the Bangham Sharks, and you've got Plymouth 49ers against the Southampton Dockers, and you've got Nottingham Rebels. Not any easier when you're playing the Melbourne Supremacy. So
No,
they've definitely got a hard run to try and get in. But
I tell you, this game at Kilmarnock Kings against Bonnyrigg Cowboys, it's much bigger for Graham than it is for Derek, because if Graham loses it and he's run into Whitechurch Warriors in week 13, he might not make the playoffs.
yeah.
So it's a much bigger game for Graham this week than it is for Derek, because Derek can wins next week and he'll still be in with those 8 wins. 8 wins there, it'd be enough for him. You know, he's got the points in the board, 2,400. So, yeah, very, very interesting week this week, but no game bigger than the Bonnyrigg Cowboys and the Kilmarnock Kings.
No,
although Chester Hurricanes and Royal Arsenal Riots isn't a million miles behind at 6-6-7-5, but
yeah. So yeah, but yeah, you've got to go Kilmarnock against Bonnyrigg.
Yeah, 100%.
So we'll go on to the final division, Dwarf Stain Division 4. So we've got Wakefield 49ers 155 against South Carolina Broncos 218. The Lancashire Bombers 246 against the Dobos Starlord Diamonds. Finally got it right. 186. You've got South London Rebels, the team of the thing, 230 points. And against the Gorgie Vikings, Pure Grotty, 166.88. The London Eagles, 185, up against the Kirkwall Cowboys, 179. Forward Patriots, 175 against the Kirkwall Raiders, another good score, 236 for Alan. Manchester Spinners, 198 against the 232 for the Blue Toon Texans, another wee nice little win for us there. This is the one with most of the show with the money in it, but yeah, it's a couple of not really any shocks, to be honest.
The picture's been painted in this division, Johnny. You know, South London Rebels at the top, 10-2. Kirkwall Raiders second, 10-2, and Lancashire Bombers third, 9-3. They're playing for 2 bye spots. And then you get South Carolina Broncos also maybe in that hunt, but more importantly in the playoffs at 8-4. And then this is all about the last 2 spots. Kirkwall Cowboys at 6-6, Dobos Darlow Diamonds currently at 5-7, currently hold them. But you've got London Eagles at 5-7, Wakefield 49ers at 5-7, and even Blue Toon Texans and Fullwood Patriots at 4-8, down to 10th. They're not out of it yet. They're only one place.
The Blue Toon Patriots have scored more points than the 2 teams above them. They've just happened to score 1 more win.
They have.
So they'd be sitting up in 7th. So
it's not going to help them against Dobos Darlow Diamonds, but it will help them against Kirkwall Cowboys too. You know, they're close to that. And if they come back, if they lose 2, then obviously Blue Toon are going to be scoring more, you would think, if they win 2. So yeah, I mean, it's, those teams are not out of it, and because there's so little between them, this is all about fifth, between 5th and 10th. This league, that's where it's at.
In fact, the only real shock, if you call it a shock, was London Eagles beating the Kirkwall Cowboys.
Which is a massive win for them because it keeps them straight in the hunt.
Hunts for 45 points with a help. But I think Kirkwall Cowboys had a good score last week, I'm pretty sure, but this week not so much.
Yeah, Jackson just didn't turn on. As we said, Jackson's poor week. Hopkins didn't exactly knock it out of the park. John O'Smith got 2 points and done nothing, so it should be a duck egg. But yeah, I mean, you left Mostart on the bench, you left Reid on the bench, you left Okarike on the bench. You know,
that's a. I don't know why you left Okarike in a game like that. You knew it was going to be lots of tackles, not much offense.
You left on the bench like Greenlaw and Jewell, I guess, and Greenlaw and Jewell are too good. They've been scoring well this year, you know. So I see the logic, but yeah, great win for London Eagles. Hurts again. That's the game didn't look like it had 45 points in it for Hurts. In fact, I'm sure at half time he had about 36 yards through the air.
Oh, he did nothing. Like he just they were crap in the first half.
45 points,
Well, 2 rushing touchdowns as well. That run
that does help.
Plus overtime will get you extra points as well if you're going to win the game. So
that does help.
Another good win for Tony Harrison. He's keeping it up.
Yeah, he's away and gone, man. That's we'll speak about him in the playoffs. Well done, sir. Dobos Darlow's Diamonds obviously losing this week, which is a bit of a sore one. I mean, he ran into a big game. Lancashire Bombers, who have absolutely secured their spot they are in. There is no way they cannot be. So yeah, but bad loss here for them as well. I mean, Kirkwall Cowboys and Dobbo's Darlows losing has opened it up. Let London Eagles and Blueton in.
And the Wakefield 49ers, if they can get
Wakefield losing as
together,
well. But yeah, I mean they lost as well. So I mean, winning that game would be the difference. But yeah, I mean it's wide open for those teams. It's good, and it's two. Unlike a lot of leagues, they're playing for 2 spots, not just one.
Yes.
And it's that can help a lot. I mean, Blueton have got Kirkwall Raiders this week, so that's a local, that's a home league derby.
Yeah, London Eagles are playing the Gorgie Vikings. Who are Kirkwall Cowboys? You're up against the South London Rebels. No, looking like they're going to slow down. Nice
and London Eagles
Darlings
are playing Gorgie Vikings, so the London Eagles win and the Kirkwall Cowboys lose, and Kirkwall Cowboys are in doo-doo.
And you got the Dobos. Yeah, Dobos against Wakefield, 2-5-7. So
that's a game of the week for me.
Definitely.
The Dobos in the Wakefield game. That's the winner of that game's probably are going to be holding one of the spots going into the final week. But you've got Wakefield, they've not got the quarterback. Their Dobbs is out, or they've got Pickett to put in, I guess, but it's Pickett.
You're missing Edwards.
And
then you've got Elliott. Elliott could go in his place. He's been getting points.
But Dobbo's missing Barkley and Moore and Kemet. So that's that's 3 hard ones to replace him with 3 quarterbacks. I repeat, 3 quarterbacks on the bench. He'll be bringing in Hubbard and probably have to bring in Chart.
There's not got much of a choice. That's the only 2 you can pick unless you pick somebody up.
And he's going to need to go shopping for a tight end, and he is going to need to go because if obviously a must-win game. So yeah, that's a huge game, and it's a must-win there. It's a huge game for Kirkwall Cowboys against South London Rebels, but it's not a big game for South London Rebels.
Well, Kirkwall Cowboys have got Jackson in a bye, Cook in a bye, Tucker in a bye, but they've got Goff. So they've got people to plug in, but they are going up against.
Yeah, they're going up against
teams, so it's a tough one.
I mean, they're missing Kincaid, Hawkinson, Davies, Meyer, and Murray are South London Rebels, and they've still got Prescott, Kamara, Eckler, Lamb, Allen, Johnson, Kittle. Cooper's going to need to go, I guess.
Well, Cooper might not be playing. So
Jings, that's a strong team. So yeah, you wouldn't fancy it. Kirkwall Cowboys are right up against it this week, and if they don't win this week, they could. I mean, the good thing for them are if they don't win this week, they're still not dead.
No, they're not. Because who they got on week 14? You've got Dobos are playing against the South Carolina Broncos. Wakefield are playing against the Bombers. Eagles are playing. Well, yeah. So basically, the other teams are at 5 and 7. Are playing against a 9 and 3, an 8 and 4, and a 10 and 2 at the moment. So they've all got tough ones. The Cowboys have got Grote in the last week. So hopefully Grote will do them a favour and do like he's done the rest of the season and no turn up. The Manchester Spinners are up against the Raiders and the Bluetoon Texans against the Fullwood Patriots. So yeah, I think who are the Bluetoon Texans playing this next? They're playing the Raiders this week. Yeah, so you got it's going to be that could all go to the final one, and there's probably a good chance you could have a 7 and 7.
Oh, it's going to go to the final. It's going to go to the final week for sure. But the good thing for the teams that are in it, are in the chase, is that it's 2 spots are playing for, not just the one. The 5 and 7s, Bluetoon, they're playing for kind of 1 spot, trying to grab that final 6 spot. But the 5 and 7s and the 6 and 6, they're playing for 2 spots.
Yes.
So they can probably, the likes of Kirkwall Cowboys can't afford to lose this week. The worst will be is tied going into the final week,
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Well, and they're playing Grote in the last week, so you've got to think.
So yeah, this is a bit of a get the win this week, but you're not putting yourself in, and you're just putting yourself in the box seat. So 2 big weeks coming up for those teams.
Yeah, so that's us for the week. So some good games.
Indeed,
and we'll to talk about next week.
All of those players, all of those teams that we've talked about there in the middle of the divide. I mean, they've got so much to play for. It's check your check your agencies, check what's there. You might find a little gem sitting in there that you plug them in, and might be the difference between getting in and not getting in, you know. So don't just go with what you've got. Go and have a wee look about, see what's in agency. And, you know, this might be the time. It's now or never. So if you've got that player, if you've got that rookie sitting on your bench that you've not quite had the balls to shuck in yet, but he's starting to score a few points, a Rashid Rice or, you know, someone like
or
that.
Dodo. Is it Dowdy? The Cowboys.
Now is the time. Now, because it's now or never. It's now or never.
You've got to roll the dice to get the last spot or last two spots.
And
But yes, it's
so
good though going
luck
into week 13, and there's not. There's always there's still spots to play in every division, which is good. Some more
there
spots
will
than
be
other.
next week as well. There won't be a single division that's all over by next week. There will still be a couple of teams playing, but by next week, the majority of the teams are just waiting on the week after. That's just the nature of the beast. That's how it goes.
And obviously, there's one division we might not have a clue going into last week who's going to get through. So that's even more fun.
7 teams on 8 wins. That would be crazy.
That would be mental. It'd be fun for us to talk about it, but not for the ones taking part in it.
Indeed. But yeah, I mean, as I say, it's all about getting that win. It might not put you in. The win this week might put you in, but it might just put you in that box seat. And that box seat's an important place to be going into the final week. So big week for a lot of teams. Good luck everyone who's involved in it, apart from Doug.
Except from Doug. And Doug has got a really tough one this week, actually. So it was a sore loss, but it's Doug.